just gotten his doctorate from one of our local universities. And we had a presentation with them because I want them to start publishing. But more importantly, I was asked to be one of the discussants, and everything was all about AI. You know, all the about 21 universities, everybody was talking of how students are going to AI and getting information, and they're not learning. And when I stood up, I told them, uh, can we think beyond the binge? Binge, B-I-N-G-E. You know, a binge, when students finish when they graduate on graduation night, you know what they do? They have binge drinking or binge eating, reckless, thoughtless. So I said we need to think beyond the binge as people in the South, because recently when I was in Boston and we had this congregation of the elite universities in the world, and they were talking about AI, people are not talking about you getting knowledge because it has always been there on the internet. People are thinking of how can I exploit AI to deepen my understanding in my area, to come up with an innovation, to come up with a patent, to come up with groundbreaking research in the area of mental health. How do I do that? How do I go, if you're doing chemistry, physical chemistry, how do I understand Schrodinger's equation, which used to give us a lot of problems on how elements are arranged in the periodic table according to the number of shells or orbits rotating around each of those atoms. Today, AI can take you there. So, this verse takes me there. He has made everything beautiful in his time, and he has set the world in our hearts. So when we look at AI, those who go to AI to copy essays and turn them into term papers, woe unto you. You are actually relegating yourself to the periphery. Me, I want you to get into aspects of validity and reliability, get into Cronbach's alpha, ask AI to decipher that Cronbach's alpha. When Ayiro's book says it is zero point 0.7, the acceptable value at P value of 0.5%, what does it mean? So you are expanding your knowledge. You are not seeking to copy and paste things. So I urged everybody, and the hall went quiet. Magdalene, I'm sure, is on this call, will tell you. And when I finished, there was instantaneous clapping in the whole place. Is it me? No, it is God, because I chose to punish myself when I was where you are sitting. And that gave me purpose, intensity, and the rest is history. By the way, God can choose you from where you are and you become. Based on this. So God has placed, I want us to go through this. This is something I've just copied what I was reading in the morning. But God has placed eternity in our hearts. That is why temporary troubles feel so overwhelming. We were made forever, so present pain seems unbearable. But this verse promises that God makes everything beautiful in its time. And I don't know how to explain this, that the pit was good for Joseph. His being thrown in the cells under false allegations was good for Joseph. His working as a slave was good for him. You are toiling for this PhD program, and this is putting pressure because we want you to finish this PhD under 36 months. This verse promises that God makes everything beautiful in its time. So, not despite the difficulties, but through it. So don't. Eh? Some of you don't want to go through the difficulty. I've said this over and over again. I must continue saying this over and over again. That whoever you are given to supervise you as a student, manage that relationship. Don't run to Onyango because you are Otieno. Don't run to Githaiga because you are Kamau. Just because you are called Kiptum, Yego doesn't have to be your supervisor, because that premise is wrong. But if Yego is given to you and you are Chepkonga, that is okay. So can you go through that difficulty so that you can become? Your current chaos is not the final chapter. God is writing a story of beauty with your life, and every dark thread is necessary for the complete picture. I want you on graduation day. I don't want you to, we are not going to do drama, but I want to see some of you as you kneel and we gown you and we give you that kofia. I want to see tears of endearment in your eyes. Yes. And you should look back and say, those dark threads of the torturous lectures by Otoi or Ayiro were worth the effort. That's what I'm talking about. Remember that when anxiety whispers that things will never change, God is a master artist. One of my biggest frustrations is when I see students on graduation, not PhD or masters, not even undergraduates, but the diploma level students, when I see them, after they have been awarded, they walk away. What a burden they are putting in front of their path. What a burden. Because you can see where they are on the scale. They are supposed to be overwhelmed that there is an undergraduate, there is masters, there is PhD. God, walk with me. But you know, there's a mentality, a valueless mentality in this country where we dismiss. And it is even seen in our leadership. You are given a position of responsibility and you don't live up to it. You think it is yourself, but God has given you that responsibility wherever you are. I heard Dr. Mwaka mentioning the various careers where you are. That's God's blessing. So if you laugh through such things, you know, I hear people say, you know, me, I'm a mere teacher. You know, me, I'm just a policeman. My nephew, my sister's child, was in my school, Kegoe, and he got a D plus. D plus. And I'm always proud of him. Around GPO in Nairobi, GPO intersection, Koinange. He's always there. He's been in social media voted as one of the best traffic police officers. I told him, agree, God is not finished with you yet. And since I was in Sunshine, and one of my parents was a top man in Kiganjo, I took him to Kiganjo. He tried to say, no, me, I don't want. I said, no, it's not you. God, God is giving you this opportunity. That young man has made me proud. Made me proud. And when I see him being acclaimed instead of condemned as a police officer, I thank God for him, and he has done well. One time I went home and I found the son had not passed very well. They had taken him to some day school at home in Likuyani, Kakamega. I took the boy to Moi Forces Academy, and he's now in Daystar doing his degree work in maths and computer science. You know, those are things that delight me. Let me say this, just remember that when anxiety whispers that things will never change, God is a master artist. And that's why you are in this class. He is not yet finished, or he is not finished yet. The beauty he's creating is worth waiting for. And I trust his timing and vision. That is my wish for you as my class. So, in reflection, adoration, God, you are the eternal one who makes all things beautiful in their time. Your perspective spans eternity while perfectly attending to each moment. This is a great experiment, ladies and gentlemen. This class you are in, if you know the conviction of Daystar Council, Daystar Management, to turn Daystar into a fountain of quality learning and hope, I want you to know that this is a moment you need to cherish. It's good to confession in this area. Let us confess our impatience with our timeline. Everybody wants to be the cabinet secretary for interior in Kenya. You know, we have made it look like you can actually, some of you are beginning to believe, but I can also become. You know, after all, you just have to wait for so and so to be a president and he'll appoint you. I am saying, can we confess our impatience with our timeline? And sometimes submit that this one I cannot do. If this is a national undertaking, I cannot do it because I don't have the expertise. We know that we have demanded beauty before its time and missed the work we are doing in the waiting. I plead that you punish yourself. I plead that you put in hours and hours. You'll be surprised where God will take you. Let us be people who value thanksgiving. So we want to thank God for the promise that you actually make everything beautiful. We thank you for placing eternity in our hearts and helping us see beyond present troubles. And we are grateful you are not finished with our story. I just want to emphasize, he has not finished with your story. And my prayer is that when I retire in the coming 3 years or so, when I'll be on my farm looking after my coffee, in the next 5 years, I'll begin to see appointments. Professor Ayiro appointed chairman of the Teacher Service Commission. And then after a month they'll hear he's been appointed chairman of Lake Basin Development Authority. And they'll be wondering, where are these appointments coming from? They'll come from you people. Yes. Supplication. Lord, help us trust your timing when we cannot see the beauty yet. Give us eternal perspective when temporary troubles overwhelm us You know, all the troubles we have. We have death in the family. We have troublesome children, all of us. We have sickly children. We have ailing parents. Can He give us eternal perspective when these temporary troubles overwhelm us? Lord, help us to wait patiently while you work, knowing you are creating something beautiful. You are creating something beautiful. And let us see glimpses of the beauty so that it may encourage us. And I want you to see glimpses. That's why when I was not able to finish my class, I had to do this class. Those are glimpses of beauty, of commitment. Can you learn something from that? And Lord, we want to see glimpses of the beauty you're forming in us as we are mentored at Daystar. So remember, our reading is that to everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. Let us pray. Dear Lord, you have made everything beautiful in its time. Help us to recognize the value of each moment that you grant us and use it wisely. May we trust that though we may not understand why, you ordain every season of life for a purpose. With your guidance, we can find joy even in the hard times as well as the easy. We know that if we wait patiently on you, you will renew our strength and grant us hope. We give ourselves to you, trusting that in due time you will address all that concerns us. So, Lord, thank you for the gift of faith that enables us to look forward with trust and hope. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So that's
Amen.
our devotion. And please forgive me, I've taken longer because I felt inspired. And there's a reason why I'm doing this devotion. I would really like to have one or two submissions. One or two submissions to this devotion. For me also to be encouraged. Because the human heart always wants to be discouraged, to be encouraged and warmed up. Yeah.
Right. Any reflection, one or two, from all of us? Any of you would like to reflect on that? Yes. Just go ahead and open up the mic.
Okay, I can reflect.
Sure.
Yeah. So thank you, Prof. That was a very, I think sometimes when you're overwhelmed, you actually forget to appreciate, you actually stop seeing the the so-called small blessings that you have. And also because you define yourself based on the world, and we forget to define ourselves based on God, we start demoralizing ourselves, so to speak. So taking us back to the Word of God and reminding us that He makes all things beautiful in His time is actually a really beautiful verse, and He actually does if we actually are willing. The Bible also says that if you're willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. So sometimes the impatience comes from the way we are defining ourselves from a world perspective as opposed to a God's perspective. And then we start putting so much pressure on ourselves. And that impatience then begets, so many other things that are not positive. So I think taking us back to the Word of God and reminding us that, and also just saying that, work hard now, put the effort now, push yourself now. It's only a season. That's what I keep telling myself. It's only a season. sometimes when I have to work and then I have to maybe not sleep because I have to finish an assignment, I just tell myself it's a season. It's only but a short season. And I think that's my encouragement to all of us. It's only but a season. Let us put effort now. We will then reap for sure. If we work as though we are working for the Lord, if we do our PhD as though we are doing it for the Lord, because it's the Lord who has given us this opportunity. Yeah, so thank you for encouraging us, and I hope you're encouraged too, that whatever we put in now, for sure, there's a fruitfulness that is going to come out of it. And He does make all things beautiful in His time. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonder, God bless you.
Thank you.
One more, and then we move on to the wrapping up of this seminar, which I...
Hello, go ahead as I unmute someone.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for the devotion. Personally, I made it to the PhD class because of encouragement. And I have a number of my PhD in clinical psychology comrades who say we have to keep going before Professor Ayiro retires. So, Prof, we appreciate you. We know that you push us. And by the grace of God, we listen. And that's why personally I am here. For the encouragement for today, when I remember the situation Kenya is in, and you say that when anxiety whispers that things will not change, let us remember that God is a master artist. I think the whole nation of Kenya needs to hear that we can't afford to give up in the midst of it all as a nation. Even in our academic journey, God is cooking something. He is the potter and we are the clay. So my encouragement to you, Prof, is keep going. We are watching you, and where you step, we step. And hopefully, they say an old man when seated can see very far. When we are standing on your shoulder by the grace of God, we'll see far. And I pray that personally as Nyawera, I'll always say, Desta changed my life when Professor Laban led us. And we pray for you behind the scenes. And allow me to thank Dr. Mwaka. She taught us, and we are here, and of course, the faculty in psychology. So please feel appreciated. We are watching, and we are encouraged, and we keep going because you're holding our hands. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that is integration of faith by excellence. And that's the difference with us at Daystar. We know it's a torturous journey, the journey of faith. But we hope that by sharing our spiritual beliefs and vulnerability, we are able to influence our students to be different. And that's my biggest prayer. I'm sure some of you have seen, about 2 Saturdays ago, I spoke to about 5,000 Catholic teachers in Nairobi and its metropolis. And all I went there was, I just sat in the space of spirituality. I didn't say anything. I didn't have a speech. I was just talking about my experiences in Daystar and how I wish that we as teachers would sacrifice more for these young men and women whom God has put in our hands. And then, of course, creating environments that really give everybody a chance. And, God spoke through one of the teachers there, and this has become a big thing. That's a bigger preaching than I would have done at All Saints Cathedral. Good. We now would like to move on to today's class. And I am going to assume this is a postgraduate class. And I'm going to be, is there a word called meanderers? Is that English? I don't know. Unajua mimi, ni mwanasayansi. Kizungu changu kidogo ni haba sana. I don't know whether there's a word called meanderers. So I'm going to be meanderers deliberately, partly to frustrate you so that you can work very hard to walk out of that pit and make sense of what I'm saying as we finish this very exciting chapter 3. I am a specialist at teaching you how to write chapter 3. That's why I'm able to do psychology, medicine, law across the disciplines, because chapter 3 is about methodology. Then I leave my other supervisors to make sure that the literature review is right. And then we discuss together. Because in chapter 4, I'll be interested in the discussion. And then we allow you to have the freedom to give us your conclusions and recommendations, and your thesis will be over. So I am talking about chapter 3, and this is actually what I am saying. When I talk about chapter 3, this is actually what I am saying. I hope I can get it. Is that seen?
Yeah, the mind map is visible. Yeah.
Yeah, the mind map is. I was to spend about 10 minutes on this mind map. And one of the best ways to learn, to be very good in research, to be very good in what you do, is the ability to conceptualize things based on your own understanding. And this is a mind map. We are in this chapter called Research Methodology. And research methodology, as I told you, is not research methods. And I want us to be very clear. I am not doing research methods. I'm doing research methodology. And this is what it is all about. This is what it is all about. The first thing is when you talk about research methodology, as a student, the biggest worry in your mind is what will my research design be? What will my research design be? And before you get your research design, you have to tell us what is your philosophical underpinning. What philosophy? What is your philosophical underpinning? So you'll have to tell us your philosophical underpinning. If you believe in measuring things objectively, then you are a positivist. And that will determine your research design. If you are from the thinking that it is through observations that you construct ideas that can lead to a theory, then you are a constructivist, and that will determine your research design. But there are those of us who are pragmatic in dispensation. We look at things and we say, yes, I want to measure, I want to quantify, but I want to bring out the voices. I want to capture the voices. Let me give you an example. We have had this, and I'm really constrained to use this example. We have had the Gen Z uprising in Kenya, culminating into the Sabasaba riot, and there were many statistics you could have given us statistics on the casualties, fatal or otherwise. Both the police, by the way, police are also human beings, the police and the Gen Zs. So we could bring out that. We could also bring out the statistics of the number of shops destroyed in various cities in the country. We could also get people to quickly tell us what does this mean in terms of cost, economic cost. These are all quantities. But you see, that picture will be incomplete. It will be incomplete until you interview Albert's wife or the mother. That interview will be incomplete until you interview that boy who was in their house reading and he was shot dead, and the parents agonizing and crying, those voices. So you see, you are both quantitative. You are capturing you could have captured the number of policemen across the country. And what is that in terms of cost? But you could also have captured the voices of some of the police officers that were bold enough to come up and say no. That is being pragmatic. You are saying those quantities, yes, amplify what actually went on, how many people died, that meant and other factors. But you capture the voices to give meaning to those quantities. That is what is called a mixed methods. And when you are in that realm, you are being pragmatic. So I'm saying, under research methodology, you must give us your philosophical underpinnings. So are you a positivist? Are you a constructivist? Or are you a pragmatist in nature? And being a PhD, it is not enough. I repeat, it is not enough for you to tell me I used a mixed methods. You know, in my class, we will expect you to go further and tell us whether this was an explanatory sequential mixed methods, an exploratory concurrent mixed methods. What came first? Did you quantify before you constructed meaning? Or did you start with interviews and then ended up collecting data? So at the beginning of your chapter 3, remember I told you in the last class, you will tell me what chapter 3 is all about. But you're not going to tell me, when I say at PhD level, you're not going to tell me this chapter consists of research design, population, the data, instruments, sampling. No, you will start by telling me, recapping what methodology is all about. This research, the topic was this. The problem statement was this. The purpose of the study was this. And I am chasing the following research objectives, stroke research questions, stroke hypothesis. So I expect a deeper narrative. And then you will tell me, in doing this research, my philosophical paradigm, my philosophical underpinning is this and this. Then you go to the research design. The research design, we have talked about quantitative, we have talked about qualitative, We have talked about mixed methods. But remember, these are being born out of the philosophical underpinnings. And since this is a PhD, I expect you to convince me about your stability as a driver. You know, I have my driver, Nicholas Kinaro. When we are driving to Nakuru or anywhere, I just sleep because I know he's in control. So I want to, the moment I read your chapter 1, I want to feel you are in control. Already you have convinced me. You know your research topic, you know the problem very clearly, you know the purpose, and you know the research questions that you're going to work with. This is what I expect out of you, and this is what we discussed when I was with you yesterday. When you come to quantitative, you must justify why your study is quantitative. You must justify why your study is qualitative. And you must tell me why you want to work with a congregation of people who are pragmatic like Ayiro. May I not hear anything from my PhD students that, you know, Prof, me, I don't like statistics. How? You're a researcher. How can you say you don't like statistics? You are very lucky. When I was doing statistics, I used to go to the computer room and pick all the waste paper and put in a gunia, then take them to my room. We had to physically do calculations. I remember I worked through calculations from evening up to 8:30 a.m. and I was going for the exam on statistics. And the whole room, the whole floor was filled with calculations papers. Today, you are very lucky. You have statistical packages. So all we need to do is crunch in the numbers, your data, and out comes the outputs. And now, me and you, your supervisor and you, we shall interrogate that data and cause interpretation of the same in our writing, the results, and discussion. So don't walk around, you know, demotivating everybody around you. That statistics. Mimi wakati nilimaliza form 4 bas nikasema you are actually demotivating. You are a demotivator unto yourself. Who will give you a consultancy that will avoid statistics? Think about it. Who? And by the way, even those of you who come and parade themselves and say, me, I will do a qualitative study. And I have no problem, by the way. If you do a qualitative study, I'll be very excited. But what I will do is I'll go to your chapter 2 and sit there a whole weekend and read your chapter 2. Kwanza tu nikiongea na wewe, when I'm causing oral discussion between me and you, I'll already know your mastery of the language. Nikaona you're pulling things, you know, but you know, this thing, I was thinking it can be like this. And then I was thinking that because this observation was like this, I will then be able to conclude, and then I will do this. When I hear you talking like that, I've already dismissed you as a qualitative researcher. Qualitative researchers are refined in language. They mesmerize you. They sit there and you think, my God, am I talking to Shakespeare? Or am I talking to Wole Soyinka? Or am I in discussion with Ngugi wa Thiong'o or Chinua Achebe? I mean, minds that cause, I don't know whether you know this word. This one I'm borrowing from The African Child by Kamara. They speak scintillating vivacity. some of you, I will sit with you for 10, 15 minutes. I will not have had anything scintillating in terms of language mastery. And you're saying me, I'm a qualitative researcher. So why don't you hide under mixed methods? Hide under that. Maybe mixed methods will be the rock of ages for some of you. You can hide thyself in thee. After dealing with matters of the design, we then have the issue of sampling techniques. Top, from my point of view, top left corner, up there. Sampling techniques, we did that in detail. This is all this is extracted from the class text. And the techniques are purposive sampling, stratified sampling, convenience sampling, random sampling. I am flagging stratification. When you divide a given population into strata, and you will define why you have divided that population. So that if you're coming to Desa University, you can have strata depending on schools. You'll have 7, now you'll have 8 strata. And you'll interview students from each of those schools. You stratify so that you don't end up interviewing all the students from School of Communication. Because School of Communication students are very, very, very what? They can age you out with their communication. So if you don't give a chance for the science student to give you their views, you might end up with only communication students. Convenience sampling is a very dangerous type of sampling. Convenience. There's a difference between convenience and purposive sampling. Be very careful. So convenience sampling and purposive sampling. And so if you use any of them in your chapter 3, I want you to justify. So what am I saying? Go into the literature and tell me I am using purposive sampling because of this. And where would you have found it? You'd have found it by reading that 1 or 2 or 3 other articles. And you're convinced from my study, I will do stratification, then I'll do purposive sampling. So there is a lot around sampling. And what I'm telling you is that when you read articles for your chapter 2, see how they're influencing your chapter 3. Because what you read in the articles around sampling techniques and population will guide you as you write your chapter 3. And that's why we said literature review goes beyond. You must look at the methodology in that article you're reading, the methodology, and use it to influence, cite it when you are writing your own chapter 3. After that, you will then do data collection. And data collection, I have given types, document analysis. We have observation. Those of you who will be in the field, there will be interviews, structured, open-ended, and then there will be surveys, instruments, again, questionnaires. And depending on your research design, that will determine what your data collection, let me call it, approach will be. I hope you know that if you are doing a purely qualitative study, then you actually become the instrument, because you are the one who will be collecting the data. You are the instrument. So when you go to Mathare to experience poverty, you are the instrument of data. You are the instrument. That's a qualitative study. If you are quantitative, you would send data collection clerks to go and collect data on whether there is water, whether there is electricity, how many meals they eat in a day, what is the health situation in that area, and so on and so forth. So data collection is very prominent. And my advice is that we all make sure that we do a good job at collecting that data. The other thing is data analysis. Data analysis. Data analysis is very interesting when you are doing qualitative studies. Analysis, and that's why I told you qualitative, you have to read, you have to do categorization of similar words or similar phenomenon. You have to do theming of the same. And then you come out with the key phenomenon that you're describing. You can also go statistical. And I want to encourage my students. We now have Professor Toy, we have Otieno, there is Ayiro, there is Bowen. There are quite a number of quantitative researchers who will anchor you. So long as our research questions, so long as our objectives and hypotheses are right, we should not worry about the statistical analysis. I'll give you an example. This work we have been doing for World Vision, I had a team. But out of that team, I encouraged Samuel. He's a bishop. I don't know how he's a bishop, but me, he looks like a reverend. But they tell me he's a bishop because, bishops are supposed to be very old people with a lot of weight around them because of the number of eggs they're given when they visit homes and churches. But Samuel Kung is very thin and he's a bishop. And I'm very proud of him, of some African traditional church in the mountain region. But I told Samuel Kung that, there is this thing I'm going into meta-analysis. And 5 years ago, when I started to say we are going to do a meta-analysis in data, everybody said, no, that is not true research. In fact, I was told that's not true research. True research must be primary data. So we encouraged students, and we had the first meta-analysis thesis come through for graduation about 2 years ago. This is Christian Wandoro or somebody. Now we have 7 in the pipeline doing a meta-analysis. One of the most daring areas of research, approaches to research. So I told Samuel, you are in the library. Can we subscribe to this software? You have yours, me, I'll have mine. And each of those softwares is now about 79,000. So I have the CMA, the comprehensive meta-analysis software he has. So 79 plus 79 is about 100 and that's 160,000. I know my finance people thought this is crazy software. And why are they going into this? But as God would have it, the first consultancy that came, World Vision insisted they wanted a meta-analysis. We didn't conspire. They just said we want a meta-analysis. So we sat with Samuel, and we have done that, the analysis part of that consultancy. And now I can say both of us are reasonably grounded in this new software, which we can use even for the other analysis. But he is becoming an expert. Does he have a PhD? No, he doesn't have. But now you can see the next time I get a scholarship for a PhD, he's the one I'll sponsor. We have a conference in South Africa in October. Is it September, October? And already is on the list. I'm going with him. You know, that's what we have read in our devotion today. Huh? God has his own ways of making things beautiful. So if I got a university now for him, I don't know, he'll have to struggle because he really likes being a bishop. You can't find him anywhere in Nairobi on Saturday and Sunday. He's out there preaching the word. But if I got one of the best universities in the world, even if it means spending 5 million shillings on him, we will. But I was going to say the 160,000 is paid back from that consultancy. The money we are being paid, 160,000 is nothing. So I'm talking about statistical analysis. I don't want anybody on this call to become apprehensive. No, we will shepherd you. We shall navigate. Dr. Mwaka, I don't know whether people are on this call. They are all quiet. Wako kweli ama maenda?
No, they are reacting with emojis or here. They are there. But if you have any question, feel free.
Are you there? Because I'm worried.
We are absorbing, Prof.
We are here.
You are making me remember there was a mad woman around my village in Vihiga called Viriango. And Viriango there were these telephone posts that were made of steel. She used to knock on each with a steel bar. And you know, you are wondering, why is she knocking this? Who is listening to that sound? So please don't make me be Viriango. Are we together? I want to pause a bit.
Yeah, but I think you can ask questions. I know some of you were there yesterday, and we are just moving from where we were, and Prof now taking us to deeper other areas that were there, also recapping, but not going. And there's a YouTube recording on the yesterdays on how to make the intro a very strong, deep introduction, not the usual summary of what you're going to do. So are there any questions so far to where we are at data analysis?
Not even questions, even reactions, or what they would like me to reassure them or emphasize. That's what a PhD class is all about.
Or yeah, wanafunzi and students, of course, candidates, doctoral candidates, and then the faculty were here, Professor Dr. Moni, Dr. Susan, Dr. Paris, I think from, I don't know which university, everybody here. Dr. Chris from Maseno University, feel free to contribute to the discussion today.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris. Yes, someone. Okay, Dr. Susan, you want to go? Just open it then.
No, I just really want to appreciate and really say that this is a great session. In fact, not just for students, but even for some of us who venture into some consultancy. And so as I listen, I just marvel at how privileged the students of this class of professor really are. And I just remember, and I wish that I went through this kind of session before. It's very enriching, and especially when we are also now being enlightened on the new approaches of research, the meta analysis. I think it's amazing, and I really want to appreciate. Just saying thank you very much, and it's a great privilege. The sacrifice, the knowledge, the energy, the passion. Thank you so much, Professor.
Asante
I
Susan.
think,
Thanks. God
I
bless
think
you.
Professor Moni,
Yeah,
the
can I
Professor
come in now?
Doctor, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, the point the VC is belaboring, namely that everyone should be able to understand and apply some statistics, is a very valid one. There was a time I listened to a historian, the late Professor Bethwell Ogot, and when he gave his keynote address somewhere, he used a lot of data in his illustration, in his presentation. For once, I didn't believe I was listening to an accomplished historian. So, irrespective of one's background, the question of figures is something we can never run away from. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
Yes. Thank you, Prof. Dean. I want to pause and talk about content analysis. And I'm addressing particularly those of us who will be leaning towards qualitative analysis. I've seen a lot of confusion around content analysis. Content analysis is a systematic research method used to interpret and quantify the content of various forms of communication. So it helps us to objectively analyze texts, images, videos, or other media so that we can identify patterns, themes, meanings, or trends. We have to be clear here. I listen to defenses and I see people struggle with what a content analysis is. This is supposed to help you objectively analyze texts, images, videos, audios that you'll have come with from the field to identify patterns and themes. As a qualitative researcher, give them meanings or trends. So I want you to look for this person, Krippen, Krippendorf, Dorff. I repeat, Krippendorff, 2004. This is what he says content analysis is. He says that content analysis is a research technique for making replicable and valid inferences from data to their context with the purpose of providing knowledge and new insights or representation of facts. Can this class go and read and understand what we mean by content analysis? There is qualitative content analysis. This one focuses on meanings and themes and patterns with data. And it involves coding text into categories based on interpretation. Victoria?
Yes.
Come in. Go ahead, come in.
Victoria Mwangi, you can post the question. We can't hear you. Mic is on, but you want to check the mic? Okay, go ahead.
You can hear me now? Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my question, Prof, would then be, what about the difference between a systematic review and a meta-analysis?
A systematic review is going through the literature in the area and setting up criteria for exclusion and inclusion, but then coming out at the level of meaning, themes, patterns, if it is qualitative, And if they are quantitative for the systematic review, you come out with statistical comparisons if it is quantitative. But a meta-analysis then takes you into, let me put it this way, takes you into inferential statistics. So when you are doing a meta-analysis, your criteria for inclusion and exclusion should state that you'll only deal with quantitative studies. So that when you have those quantitative studies, now we can bring in the CMA, the software, and the software will tell us all the statistics that we want from that data and bring out the variables. If there are 30 studies or 40 studies that then determine the results we are looking for. So that's a good question. I want to repeat. A systematic analysis, strictly speaking, you will set up criteria for inclusion and exclusion. You will do the analysis and you'll bring out patterns, themes, and meanings or trends. And you end there and tell us which ones are prominent. But in a meta-analysis, you then walk down into the well and engage in inferential statistics so that we look at things like effect size, forest plots, and so on, and be able to interpret them. There are various statistics there, the OR and the others, to tell us these are, in this area you are working in, all these studies that have been done, they are raising these variables as being important, so that the ones we must manipulate if we want to bring change or if we want to find a solution to COVID or to vaccination or to funding education in Kenya. In fact, I want to challenge my brother, the new dean, who would like to do a serious meta-analysis on educational attainment and reforms in Kenya, so that we can inform the country. This is why we are wrong with CBC. Yeah, based on a litany of studies, not just in Kenya, but in sub-Saharan Africa and beyond. So I've said there is qualitative content analysis, which focuses on meanings, themes, and patterns within the data, and it will involve coding text into categories based on interpretation. There is also quantitative content analysis. It involves counting and measuring the frequency of words, phrases, and symbols. Sometimes, as Professor Wekesa said, I was looking at a thesis, and it was on the difficulty of English language performance in Kenya. And somebody decided to do a quantitative content analysis and involved counting and measuring the frequency of words that are not used properly, phrases and symbols. And then she did statistical comparisons. And when you're doing a content analysis, remember, you define the research question, you select the content or sample, whether they're newspapers, interviews, speeches. You decide the unit of analysis. Is it a word? Is it a sentence? Is it a paragraph? Or is it a theme? Then you develop categories and coding, and you can code either manually or using software, and then you interpret your findings. So it's a very, very interesting area. And the one I'm talking about, the School of Education, we want to evaluate the curriculum materials and the significance of what we are seeing now with CBC and so on and so forth. So be very careful. And most of the time, I don't see content analysis adequately dealt with, particularly with qualitative researchers. What tools will you use? Now you have NVivo, you have Atlas, you have Python, you have SPSS, you have MCA, and many others. And we should be able to pick any of these at the guidance of your supervisors. Finally, on research methodology, there is validity and reliability. Please don't just see these words as mere words. What do we mean by validity and reliability? Now you are at PhD level. At master's level, you could escape by saying validity is knowing whether you are measuring what you're supposed to measure, and reliability is the consistency or the replicability of your findings. But now at PhD level, really, you must go deeper. So when I'm looking at your chapter 3, around reliability and validity, I want to see you go into depth and tell me how you will establish the validity and reliability of your instruments. Very important, of your instruments for data collection. And it brings me to the fact that I would really advise most of us not to try developing instruments, but adapting instruments with the guidance of your supervisor. Most of us hardly know, and even if they throw in a few statistical formula, they don't get into detail. Essentially, validity is measuring what you intend to measure, or it is the accuracy or truthfulness of the measurement. That's what validity is, the accuracy or truthfulness of the measurement. So it indicates the extent to which the research instrument truly captures the concept or construct it is intended to measure. So it's around the instruments. And there are different types of validity. I'm not going into this. They are in the book, your class reference. There is face validity, content validity, construct validity, and criterion validity. Please make sure you go through it and cite it in your chapter 3, that I'm citing so and so on the understanding of the concept of validity. Reliability is a measurement of consistency and repeatable or repeatability, replicability. Is this machine measuring the same thing it measured yesterday? So reliability refers to consistency and stability. Consistency and stability. And remember what I said, validity is about accuracy and truthfulness. Accuracy and truthfulness. So the example I gave you in class, in my bathroom here in Nairobi, in Athi River, I have a measuring scale. I also have a measuring scale in Soy. So every time I jump out of the bathroom, trying to control my weight, after I've used the towel, I jump onto the measuring machine. The one in Athi River tells me I am 93 kgs. Then I travel to Soy. After coming out of the bathroom, I measure, it tells me I'm 91. You see, now those are validity issues. But when I come back to Athi River, my weight still tells me I'm 93. So it is reliable. It is reliable because there is consistency about my weight. But validity is an issue. So we, at this level, must be able to measure validity. And that's why I don't run to do an instrument, because we will subject it to how valid are the measurements. But if you take an instrument that has been validated, then you just adapt it. And when you have an instrument that is validated, we know that Cohen's kappa is about 0.70, and Krippendorf's alpha is about 0.08. So you will say that, but you will cite where you have gotten that and why you think, not why you think, why your instrument that you're using for measurement is valid. So in conclusion around validity, reliability, I want you to note that validity measures truthfulness of the analysis, and reliability ensures consistency and replicability. And I would like you to address both of them systematically in your chapter 3. I want to pause there as I go to the final. We were at slide number 10. We have 8 slides. I've talked about almost everything on this one. Any issue to be raised so far?
All right. Any
Yes, Prof.
questions? Yes, go ahead, please.
Just a comment.
Yes, okay, sir.
Yeah, on the question of validity, Prof has made the point of using an instrument that is already validated. But then again, we are bound to have some cultural differences, so that an instrument validated for measuring IQ in the US may not be appropriate for measuring IQ in Kitui.
Yeah.
And that calls for some amount of modification or adaptation, in which case, if it's going to be changed a lot, then it needs to be subjected to validity tests on its own. Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you for reinforcing that.
And I totally agree, because a lot of students are usually overambitious and think that the items they have been able to produce on their tools are valid. And as Prof says, and Prof also says, both professors here, is that then we have to subject that particular instrument to the reliability and validity so that we can be able to be sure it's going through. And therefore, you find now responding to your research questions becomes so difficult because you are thinking it yourself. So adaptation becomes one of the best way, because then you are able to have that really way of a bit of modification to be able, other than probably the tools that we measure. In psychology, for example, we are lucky that most tools either been already adopted here and therefore are previously adapted and then adopted, and therefore we take them as they are. And but for many people, I see they come up with very interesting tools and think that this data instrument is my own, and they want to feel good about it. Unfortunately, then it has to be subjected to the process for it to be used. And the process is tedious. To standardize a tool that it can measure given behavior is a huge process. It takes long. Thank you.
All right. The class, as I sum up, I know I've taken 1.5 hours. Sampling methods, I'm going to send these mind maps. You will tell us where you are. There is non-probability sampling, where you have randomness. I mean, where you don't have randomness, convenience, snowballing, judgmental, quarter sampling. Read the literature, cite the literature as you write for me chapter 3. Then there is probability sampling, stratified, simple, systematic, cluster sampling. We have already covered this, but I would like you to be able to reference which of these you're using and why. The other thing I want to touch very quickly is this one. I'll be very interested in this as you give me your chapter 3, and that is the data collection methods. So primary data, which you're going to use, qualitative methods, interviews, focus groups, observation, quantitative methods, surveys, experiments, questionnaires, and then secondary data, academic articles, official statistics, previous surveys. So this is a PhD. So when you talk about data collection methods, you must go into detail. Your primary data, if there are qualitative methods, which ones and how are you able to use them. Quantitative methods, secondary data. So I'm just reminding you as we summarize this seminar that we'll want more details. And after this, we will send all these slides so that you can be ticking them off and saying, yes, I'm going to use secondary data, but which one is it and why? I am going to have interviews, etc. There's a hand up. Is that Iragi?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. My name is Christian Iragi. I'm a PhD student in finance.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry for going back.
No, it's
because
okay.
in the chat, I can see that it's written that research design it can be maybe quantitative, qualitative. But now I have my handbook.
Yeah.
It's written in the handbook that not that qualitative and quantitative are not part of the research design. What could you advise us about that?
Yeah, good question. I am really struggling with this regimentation of thought. You can call it strategy, but that strategy is still under research design. It is the design that will lead you to adapt a quantitative, a qualitative, or an MR approach. So I don't want us to regiment our minds to say, but if we say that, then we are wrong. You are not wrong. That's the level I want to bring you at. And you need to read around the constructs and be able to see what is the difference when they say it is a strategy of approach. It's part of the research design. In fact, it then dictates everywhere you go through instrumentation, data collection, data analysis. Yeah, but you'll be in the hands of your supervisor, you rationalize it. But it is justification. And I'm beginning to fear we are behaving like I think even and without any intention to demean, but Iragi, I want you to be a true philosopher. I want you to be able to understand why I am classifying those as research designs, which could be strategies of approach. And there's no contradiction at all. It's like what I keep telling people. What is contradictory if I talk about the conceptual framework and the theoretical framework in brief in chapter 1, then go to chapter 3 and do the dancing there? And after all, research is all about threading. So thank you for raising that point. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, and I really apologize, we have taken longer than I had wanted, but I want to, let me see, what am I looking for? I'm looking for something here, yeah, this one. I'm also going to send this, this work over to you, and I hope that we will be able to, let me see whether we can share. No, not this one. You will be able to go over this work. This is the work I want to share.
Feel free to raise your hand if you have any question all along.
Yeah, this is the one. I would like to say yesterday we talked about instrumentation. We have dealt with it today in detail. You can use these slides, data collection procedures, data analysis, given you some details to look through. for quantitative data, descriptive statistics, inferential and software, and then qualitative data, the kind of software you'll use, thematic coding, we have talked about them, and then expected outcomes, sample of themes and visuals, and then we have talked about reliability, validity, and ethical considerations in detail. You'll use these slides to reinforce your thinking. We did talk about ethical issues yesterday, and that ends our seminar. So I'm going to send the slides I've promised, and you will now go through them as you start constructing your chapter 3. Please don't rush through chapter 3. After you do a section, you then get to your supervisors, either myself or the other supervisor, and we move on that way. Tumbo, Simon, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Prof. I mean, the session has been quite enlightening. Now, yeah, just to reiterate that meta-analysis would not be the best to use in a qualitative study, but rather on a quantitative study. And if that holds, how do you assess the quality of studies that you want to use in terms of rigorness? And if you go into an area that you suspect perhaps there are no enough studies that you'd want to analyze using meta-analysis, what would be the threshold for you to, conduct the study?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. You will get articles in an area where you want to do a meta-analysis. You'll have a criteria for exclusion and inclusion. Obviously, if you don't get enough studies that have dealt with quantitative data, you begin to say, no, it can't be a meta-analysis here. I can do a systematic review and maybe collect some primary data to finish my analysis. So it is actually as you'll go through an article, you'll see how much quantification is in that article, because it is those statistical indices that you are going to accumulate to do the analysis from statistically. So that is a valid question you're asking, but I'm saying is not something difficult for us to design and make a decision on where you're going. But obviously, meta-analysis, if you find all your studies are mainly qualitative, you then begin to worry, because how are you going to determine the effect size, which is the critical index, the critical statistic in meta-analysis? Thank you, Mwaka. I would like to stop there and wish the class well. I've seen the coordinator has given me some candidates. I don't know whether it's from this class or the other cohort, but we'll keep interacting with them as we move along. Thank you. God bless.
Right. Thank you so much, Prof. I think I call this the famous chapter 3, and I keep telling students it is a do or die, because this is a chapter that makes you either pass the proposal as you wind up your presentation, and now you are going that they have to make a decision on you. This is a very important chapter, because this is where your science and thinking and your art and everything. Remember the yesterday's Prof demonstration that everything you must say why, rationale, why not the other one, and this is the ultimate choice of this particular method for this particular study. It keeps helping you going deeper to making us understand the justification, the rationale, the ultimate choice of that particular method, and of course going deeper to give reasons why not the other ones and this particular. So basically, I hope this is supposed to help you to know how chapter 3 is constructed, and that all of us will write beautiful chapter 3. And Prof said whoever will write, what was it yesterday? He gives 30,000, or can't remember. He promised. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody who is going to make his heart jump and say, wow, I think I've found the best candidate ever. Not only is he just giving you 30,000 to be able to encourage you to write more, and you can now pay us for your meta-analysis. We charge a very good rate for meta-analysis. The CMA, for those going for CMA, come for us. We have a very good analysis for you. We'll do for you the reports, but that pays half of your meta-analysis costs in terms of data analysis. So I want to ask all of us to react and give our reactions. Of course, we have various professors from different universities who've joined us, and it will be good to get just about give us we'll stop on the hour exactly. If we don't have any, then before the hour, and we can ask. First of all, let me get from students. How is it going?
But Mwendwa Kelly, I will send the reference. Please don't be worried. I'm going to sit and send all these materials over today. Yeah, good.
Prof, they're saying you better save a lot of money. They're going to give you a lot of surprise because everybody wants to make it. So please save any money that you'd like for this.
Okay. I'll do a
so can we have few reactions from students and also one or two professors on forum, whether from Data University or a different university, and see how this is? Let's go. Yes, students, this is usually ask as much as you can. Go ahead, someone. Yes, William Umbati. William, I thought you wanted to speak. Fidea, I can see your mic. All right, I'll bring in few. Yes, go ahead, Victoria. Yes.
Yes, first of all, just to thank Professor Ayiro for the presentation. Very insightful, and always learning, some new learning for us. Now, that we finished this seminar, sometimes it feels sad because it's come to an end, and just to ask direction for either chapter 2 or the chapter 1s that we submit. Thanks.
If you have submitted, if you submitted any of your chapter to us, and there were not many of you because some of you are waiting until we come to this end, definitely because Prof has already finished with the group, the cohort 1 of development studies, exploring their chapter 1 and the rest. But however, I think we will be able to give you, because Magdalene has put all the chapters. So it means Prof has not seen them because we were accumulating enough for him so that he doesn't be able to only get one, and then after 10 days, another one. So we'll give him about for the 15 that we have received from you. Then he can be able to give you feedback. What this means to us is that officially, students can now ask for their second supervisors to start developing their proposal to the full. I would encourage this cohort that surely, by the time you're coming to the end of this semester, the next semester, even as you continue doing your coursework, please, for those who are finishing up, end of this year, you should have all of you defended your proposal so that you can now start doing your data collection, publication, because there's not just only dissertations, but you have other requirements by the university and the Commission for University to be able to fulfill. So let's have most of you defend your proposal by end of these semesters, and you have your coordinators on this forum, you have graduate school on this forum, you have some of your deans in this forum. They're hearing all this as we talk. Your effort here, after this, it's your personal effort. Otherwise, you'll be left behind. So you make your work easier, demand for your second supervisor. You have a right to, because you've already gone through the class and already moving on. Register. This is supposed to be registered because it means it is an additional request on your fee structure to register for dissertation, so that now you can be able to go through the process without having to have any challenges here. Francis Lucis. I know Professor Dr. Moni, you want to come in? Please, after this, you can come in, or alternatively can come in as others are preparing. Prof, yes, go ahead. Your mic, Prof, it's open, but we can't hear. Yes, we can now hear.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, I think I have made all the comments I would have made. I have nothing useful to add at this point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other people? Any questions, any fears? Yes, someone has a hand. Just go ahead, shoot your question. Trying to see who that is. Yes, Yusuf?
Thank you so much, Dr. Mwaka. Mine is just a comment, or let us say encouragement. And thank you so much, Professor Laban Peter Ayiro. My name is Iham Abdullah Yahya Yusuf. I'm from North Sudan, and I had the privilege of being mentored by Dr. Don Smith, one of the founder of Daystar University, our institution, and also one of your esteemed peers. So in one of our conversations, Dr. Don shared something deeply touching. He spoke about the leadership of Professor Laban Ayiro with so much admiration, describing how you are carrying the Daystar vision forward with strength, wisdom, and integrity. So just to be brief, the word cannot be expressed in a few minutes. And also just want to encourage you, Prof, keep inspiring, keep shining, and keep transforming. You are making miracles. So your impact is not just in Daystar University, but across Africa and beyond. And I have seen that leadership personally in the way you have guided us from chapter 1 to chapter 3 with a unique teaching style, and through your inspirational spiritual devotions. You have taught us that what it means to lead with a kindness, humility, wisdom, integrity, and so on. I have learned a lot, and also I'm open and receptive to learn more. And also to encourage my colleague, just to say that congratulations, we are here for a great purpose. What we have learned is not just for ourselves, but to share and inspire others. Yeah, this may be just the end of chapter 3, but the journey of growth and transformation is beginning. Thank you so much, Prof, again, and may God sustain His abundant blessing upon you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol, who is that? I didn't get a name. No?
Siham Yusuf. I think Siham, you're doing teaching in clinical psychology, if I'm not wrong, but she's from North Sudan. But having met Prof. Don Smith and Don Smith talking about you, she appreciates.
Yeah, this is Siham. I met Professor Laban once, coming out from his office, but have a time to. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. So again, just to say, we are going chapter 4. Yes.
I would like to seek permission.
Yes.
The women's final, Spain is playing England, and they've finished the first half. I must watch the second half. These are the things that energize me. You know, so please let me watch the second half. I've missed. Spain is leading with 1 goal. I was supporting England. My heart is in my mouth.
All right, thank you so much. So we just have 2 minutes and we have done. So I want to ask Dr. Jared. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is Dr. Francis Mutuko.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yes, please.
Thank you, Prof. Ayiro. We have for the work. I think today I can say it was good. I don't know whether a question or maybe a comment about in every work that is done, by every student here, then when would be is there any need to bring up the issue of trying to bring in the issue of indigenous knowledge systems? Would they be important in at this level, or maybe it would have come before in chapter 1? the importance of.
Mm.
I'm sure you know
I,
quite a lot about it, Prof.
I understand you.
Because because I realized from my background in South Africa, it's like it's being emphasized in every work that is being done.
Yes. What I want to say is this. I must see the thread of indigenous knowledge in chapter 1, right from the problem statement, through my chapter 2 in the literature review. Then I'll have it sit well in chapter 3. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So as we come to the end of this class, we want to thank all of you students and others. I know you're writing your emails. Usually we have a group, we are sending these notes. We also have a YouTube, we always have, just Google Professor Laban Ayiro. It will come and say something like chapter 3. If you are not knowing where to get, and probably you're coming from a different university, and then you can always download the ones who are coming from KISI, the ones who are coming from SPU, other universities, please do. But for our students here, you know what I do. I send you on your forum, and we send you that. Remember that chapter 4, chapter 5 will come when you have already defended your proposal. You'll be in the field. So it's coming next semester. This semester, so we request all the deans who are here and coordinators, please, we leave Saturday to be very blank for us so that we can have these seminars for students so that they can be able to undertake the remaining chapters while they are also writing their proposals. Otherwise, we appreciate all of you, and hopefully that you can read the rest from that. Let's have your chapter 1 so that Prof can clear you, and we shall be copying your deans and coordinators of the program so that they can be able to catch up with you. We thank you so much, and we wish you all the best, and see you next semester, and congratulations for finishing up your first academic year in Daystar for those in Daystar University. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prof, for being such a mentor and a patient, and also teaching throughout the whole year. Not just what they don't know, you're also teaching another group of 118 students, master students, just like them, but these are the master students, and the same research method. So they may just think they are the only ones, 91, but we have another group of 118 and another group that is coming, over 150 students in Daystar next semester. Thank you so much, and God bless all of us. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.